and welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. Do you want to be part of Big Mouth, my YouTube channel? Do you want to be part of the dceu Daily? Do you want to be part of these discussions? Then please tag me at Movies TV Mad on Twitter. Tell me what you want to talk about, and I will read out your tweets here on the dceu Daily every day, only exclusively here on Big Mouth. Today's top story is that the head of Warner Media, Ann Sarnoff, has said they are still committed to the Wonder Woman 1984 Christmas Day release date, but they are still, like all the other studios, a studio without a plan B. Then we'll be reading another Screen Rant article about Zack Snyder, and that is today's dceu Daily. Let's go. WB still committed to Wonder Woman 1984 Christmas release date. Though Warner Bros. Is planning to evaluate conditions in the coming weeks, the studio is still committed to releasing Wonder Woman 84 in December. By Rachel Labonte. Currently, Warner Bros. Is still committed to keeping Wonder Woman 1984's release date on Christmas Day of this year. Scheduling movies has been something of a nightmare this year, as the COVID-19 pandemic shuttered theatres for a large portion of the year and forced studios to delay their biggest projects, while some theatres have finally begun reopening around the globe. And in the United States, box office numbers are still rather dire, at least when it comes to the latter. As a result, several movies scheduled for the end of 2020, like Black Widow and No Time to Die, have fled to next year in the hopes of getting a better chance at success. Actually, No Time to Die by MGM was attempted to be sold over at Netflix and Prime Video. Now, what we know about that is that Netflix and Prime Video and Apple TV said 600 million is too much. But what I can tell you exclusively, even though this isn't a Bond video, is that those talks are ongoing, and MGM do want to shift No Time to Die for a fair price on streaming. Let's hope it's not on Apple TV, because I can't get that. Anyway, moving on. Long ago, Wonder Woman 84 was actually planned for release in 2019, but Warner Bros. Moved it to June 2020 without telling us an actual reason, by the way, in a move that has proved devastating in hindsight. Yes, when the pandemic effectively destroyed the summer movie season, Warner Bros. Delayed the highly anticipated sequel multiple times. The most recent change sent Wonder Woman 84 from early October to December the 25th, where it has remained for some time now. Still, though, analysts doubt that Wonder Woman 84 will be able to hold on to that date, obviously. For the time being, Warner Bros. Plans on keeping Wonder Woman 84 as a holiday present for fans. In a new interview with Variety, Warner Media Studio Networks Group Chair, CEO Ann Sarnoff confirmed that as of right now, the studio is committed to releasing Wonder Woman 1984 in December. However, Warner Bros. Intends to keep an eye on theatre conditions within the next few weeks before they make their final decision. It really is about how the US continues to open and whether there are any other surges, Sarnoff said. We've got a little bit of time to figure that out. Earlier this month, Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins admitted she's uncertain about whether her highly anticipated film will be able to keep its December date. Though a good number of movie theatres have reopened in the US, major markets like New York City and Los Angeles remain closed, and even in places where theatres have thrown open their doors, attendance is low. No shit, Sherlock. If the circumstances don't improve within the next month, expect Wonder Woman 1984 to become a 2021 movie. Again, no shit, Sherlock. Provided theatre-going conditions do improve, though, it would be rather nice to have a movie like Wonder Woman 1984 debut in December. Absolutely. Save for Christopher Nolan's Tenet movie, buffs haven't seen a major theatre release since March. Wonder Woman 84 was one of the most anticipated movies of this year, and though 2020 has been far from perfect, getting to see the movie by New Year's could lift some spirits. Of course, that's entirely dependent on whether theatres are safe for patrons and whether Warner Bros. Chooses to keep it on its current schedule. This is, in fact, a very interesting situation Now, as far as you and I know, they actually don't have a plan B, like the other studios. Well, apart from MGM, which is trying to shift No Time to Die, the latest Bond movie, to streaming. I think we will hear more about that. I don't think that's over, by the way, and MGM haven't made an official statement about the stories that leaked last weekend. As I say, the price I heard was 600 million, which Netflix and Prime Video especially said no to. But there could be a compromise if they're able to stream on both platforms. Sounds impossible? I will keep you updated. This is what we do here on Big Mouth. This is an important moment for Warner Brothers and Hollywood. If they release this movie in selective theatres that can reopen or that are open on December the 25th, and also maybe HBO Max in America or another streaming platform where they could sell it pay-per-view, I think this changes the game. This is the future. Theatrical releases and on streaming at the same time for a fee. I think that's the way to go. I know a lot of you do. Some of you are still living in the dark ages and don't want to see on streaming until it's time to be on streaming. I so disagree with you on such a high core level. It is so important that we embrace this horrible word, the new normal. 2 words, by the way. It needs to release on December the 25th in whatever theatres it can, and at the same time, it needs to be released on streaming. This would bring the 800 to a billion that Warner Brothers want with no problems whatsoever. If Tenet had done the same and Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers hadn't been stubborn, then Tenet would have cleared $1 billion because Tenet is an amazing film, probably the best film of this year if all the films were released right. Because don't forget, I've seen Tenet and I have seen Wonder Woman 84. You know, my usual loyal subscribers will know that. And I can tell you it's a really good CBM. And, you know, everyone's missed out on it. And it's a great tragedy. So let's hope it is released on December the 25th and released on streaming at the same time. Because if they don't do this, it proves Hollywood have no plan B. And it means Hollywood will be dead within 5 years' time. There's no question about that. They need to be thorough. They need to eclipse the new normal. And they need to be forward thinking. Because things will never go back to the way they were. And if you can't accept that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And if this industry can't accept that, they're going to go bankrupt. One franchise and one director who's got no problems whatsoever is the Snyderverse and Zack Snyder. Yes, finally, the director has something to smile at because now he's got the green light to continue his Snyderverse. Yes, he's working on Zack Snyder's Justice League as we speak, shooting additional scenes. Well, he's pretty much doing a lot more than that, and this is going to last a lot more than the reported 7 days. That's bullshit. Be interesting to see what kind of BTS we get from Zack as well. Anyway, Screen Rant have always been quite loyal to Snyder, even when we were fighting for the Snyder Cut. And here's another brilliant article, this time by Brad Curran, a name I can actually pronounce. Snyder's Justice League is much bigger than we imagined. As the Justice League Snyder Cut's additional photography unfolds, the HBO Max miniseries event is now a way bigger deal than anyone ever expected. The Justice League Snyder Cut, or as it's now officially known, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is now a far bigger deal than anyone ever thought. The film is currently undergoing additional filming and is set to debut on HBO Max in 2021 as a 4-part miniseries. However, with the developments that have happened since the green light was officially given, it has transformed into something that even the many fans who pushed for its release ever imagined. Among the cast members returning for the additional filming is Ben Affleck, who previously walked away from Batman and the DCEU altogether in early 2019 following an extended period in which his departure was already all but confirmed. Also back for the new scenes is Jared Leto as the Joker, whose own future in the role was in considerable doubt, while Joe Manganiello is also reportedly back as Deathstroke, having only been seen in a brief cameo in the theatrical version of Justice League. The significance of all of this cannot be overstated. I agree with this, Brad. Affleck's return was long viewed as an outright impossibility, but as you and me both know, nothing's impossible in Tinseltown if you spray some cash about. Anyway, not unlike the release of the Snyder Cut itself, Leto's return also comes mere months after Birds of Prey only showed his Joker through obscured body doubles and clips from Suicide Squad, while Manganiello's Slade Wilson was never even given a full launch. Add in other cast members known to be returning like Ray Fisher and more who could be coming back for additional shooting. It's a good bet at this point that the list doesn't stop with those already confirmed. Along with the fact further that filming is indeed happening, it's now evident that the movie has gone from the Snyder Cut to the Snyder Cut on steroids. I think that's a great analogy, isn't it? The scope of the additional work being done on this film only further highlights this point, with Snyder getting a whopping $70 million to work with the movie's total runtime to come in at 4 hours. Obviously, making it stand apart from the theatrical cut is of paramount importance. Well, that won't be difficult, mate. In presenting Snyder's cut as a truly never-before-seen version of Justice League, still what's happening now is going above and beyond even the radical difference his initial 214 cut embodied from what was presented in theatres. Exactly what Snyder is adding with the additional photography is the question on everyone's heads, with additional material for the Nightmare's future from Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice being one good guess. The possibility of Snyder restoring elements dropped in the Justice League script, which is about restoring his original scary idea, of course. Rewrite done in the aftermath of its predecessor's polarized reception would be another. Whatever the case may be, particulars of what is being added now may be secondary in importance to just what the Snyder Cut itself has become. Over the course of the 2.5 years, just getting everyone to agree that Snyder's unseen movie existed at all was a major challenge, while its release being given the go-ahead was a historic event in film history. Now it has become something far, far bigger than anyone ever thought possible, to the point where its importance to the DCEU's future is arguably rivaled only by The Flash itself. Quite a stunning reversal in the momentum it's picked up. Zack Snyder's Justice League is now an absolute, completely overshadowing both its theatrical counterpart and even the original 214-minute cut. That is its foundation, and one that's almost certainly going to continue to supernova between now, when it's finally unveiled. Yeah, Brad is spot on there. Absolutely spot on. As we've already discussed so many times, and so many others commentators on Zack Snyder's Justice League have, the 214 is a compromised cut. It's not because they left a water bottle at the back like Game of Thrones. It's because Zack and Chris developed an original vision and an original script, which the studio didn't like. They then developed a second original script, which the studio didn't like. So then they went back and they had to cut out a lot of what they wanted to do in their third and final script. Well, what Zack's done now is gone to that original vision, and that's what he's shooting, and that's why they're giving him $70 million. I think you've really got to give it to Snyder when he did have that meeting with Toby Emmerich, Jim Lee, and Walter Hamada. And, Snyder must have said to them, this is what has to happen for me to go back and do this. Because they were desperate. They were begging him to come back because they saw how important Zack Snyder's Justice League would be to the future of HBO Max. And they wanted Snyder in Camp Warner Brothers, as we discussed yesterday in the DCEU Extra. So basically, Zack held all the keys here. And so one of the things that Zack made absolutely clear, the 214, that's not the film that's going to be released. I want to go back and do my complete, original, scary idea. And that's what Zack did when they were negotiating. The Ayer cut had to be on the table as well. And he wanted, and this is something that I've said to you a few times now, that David Ayer would be given a budget to go back and do the complete original vision of his Suicide Squad, including the kind of cameos and stuff that would link in to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes, the Snyderverse is back. That's what was being negotiated in Zack's house that night when Jim Lee and Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich were discussing what was going to happen. and Zack got everything he wanted. We may still be fighting for the haircut, but the haircut is going to happen, immaterial on what we do. But I do implore you to keep on fighting, because it can't hurt the cause. Because as soon as this is official, the better. I think it's official. David's seen his original cut. I think he will go back and shoot certain things. And this is a very interesting time. We've already seen with the Wonder Woman 84 debacle and the No Time to Die debacle that cinemas are dead. The movie theatre model is dead. And Zack Snyder's Justice League and his Snyderverse is a beautiful situation, because he's doing this on streaming. And because he's doing this on streaming, no delays, no pressure, and they're allowing him to bring in his original vision. Zack Snyder is the closest thing that this generation and era has to George Lucas. DC may not be his creation, but he's reimagined DC and their characters. And he's genius. He's brilliant. And what I love about Zack, he doesn't take himself too seriously. Rewatching the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice watch party yesterday while I was having a shave and a shower, and him mocking the 28% on Rotten Tomatoes BVS had, is brilliant. How many movie makers could laugh at that? No, they would be offended by that. He's brilliant. Of course it hurt him originally. Of course it hurts him, the toxicity that's aimed at him. But he's grown a thicker skin. He fought for what was his. He fought for his vision alongside us. And it's the most beautiful thing in movie history. The most beautiful thing in Hollywood history. Do you know what I love about Zack Snyder's version of DC? Is that he's grabbed him, David Goyer, Chris Terrio and Christopher Nolan, grabbed Superman and dragged him through the dirt. Do you know what I mean by that? And it's very similar, and I've also said this before, it's very similar to what they did on Smallville. You have to earn the right to be this hero. This hero is so special and so iconic. You can't just fly over the fortress about 20 minutes after you've landed on Earth and left Smallville. This is something that has to be earned. This is why in Smallville, Jor-El gave Clark so many trials. And Clark saw Jor-El as a villain so many times. But he earned his right to be Superman by the series finale. And this is what Snyder's done. He's made Superman suffer. He's had to suffer. Everything he goes through in MOS, everything he goes through in BVS. And even in his Justice League vision, he's going to be manipulated by Darkseid, right? And everything else. So by the time he's gone through everything, he's earned the right to be a superhero. And I think that's beautiful. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow or maybe later with more videos, and definitely tomorrow with more DCEU Daily. Tag me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad. I will read out your thoughts and feelings about DC and maybe even your constructive criticism about the channel. Remember, I'm not in a position to get microphones. I'm not in a position to get a good camera, so no point criticizing those things. I will see you again soon. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for subscribing, because even people with a low following have got something interesting to say, haven't they now? See you again soon.